As a mangaka type Moon Chapter 261 to 270. 261 The Fall. Him. So this is his trump card? No wonder he was so calm. I didn't expect such a card. Returning to Cairo, Alucard chuckied. I see, so Star Platinum's ability isn't time stop but the world duplication. Martha pondered for a moment. That's not a bad ability either. As she spoke, she scratched her hand, feeling a bit itchy. Gil, how about returning? Can we go back? No, Gilgamesh shook his head. Although it's unpleasant, that place is not easily accessible even for this king. Perhaps sacrificing a portion of my treasures would work, but it's not worth it, definitely not worth it, to go there for a dying man. Alright, since you've also mastered the world, let me see which, truth, is superior, my the world or yours. After killing you here, I'll return to the previous world and exterminate every version of you in Cash Parallel World. I'll completely sever the bloodline of Joestars in every world. Come on, Dio. Kujo Jotaro took 2 steps forward, pointing at Dio with one hand. Fine. This is the true and final round. Aura. Muda Muda, the clash of fists. Each punch carried the truth of the two, and any slight mistake would erase the reality completely. Muda. Dio laughed. You can't possibly be my match. Jotaro, feel it. Can you feel it? Your truth is gradually slowing down? Ha. But, damn it, this is getting dangerous. Hey, what was that method you mentioned earlier? Kujo Jotaro's face turned slightly pale, a result of his spirit burning too intensely. Linking spirits. Kazuya said, can you feel it? What's coiling around your arm? Kujo Jotaro paused slightly, pushed back by Dio's attack, and felt the rope coiling around his arm. Hold on to this. Victory is ours if we bind Dio's hands. Have you used it before? When you first gained the ability to rewrite reality, did you turn Dio's physique back to normal? Reverted him to the state he became after using the stone mask. That is, the state vulnerable to ripple and afraid of sunlight. Yes, I rewrote his reality, but it seems he hasn't noticed it yet. Muda, Dio kicked and broke Kujo Jotaro's leg. It ends like this, the Joestar bloodline will be completely severed. Why wait, do it now? Aura golden ropes appeared from Kujo Jotaro's arm, binding Dio's hands. Mudada. Something like this can be easily broken. Indeed, under normal circumstances, yes, but how about this? Kujo Jotaro said, releasing control of his body, allowing Kazuya to take over. How long has it been since you've sensed the ripple's aura? Who? What? Ripple dash. Crackling sounds, a powerful ripple, stronger than anything Dio had faced before, amplified by the ability of the ropes that increased ripple damage by 50%. Instantly rushed towards Dio's arm. Mudada. Ripples like this can't affect me now, what? Dio's face turned unpleasant. Impossible. How could something like this? The ripple began to spread along his arm, burning it. His entire palm turned into charcoal. Impossible. I am Dio. Splash, his clothes tend to me ground. Dio was completely melted by the ripple. Phew. It's finally over. Kazuya sighed in relief, completely restoring his body with a slight wipe of his hand. Dio defeated. Completely dead. Watching the scene in front of him, Kujo Jotaro also sighed slightly in relief. No matter how many times I say it, you pissed me off. At this moment, in front of Kazuya, there was only that enormous object, the Holy Grail. Because Dio's death had already been exposed in front of him. So, hey. Hee. Now it can be used like this, indeed. First give me the ability of Over Heaven. Stop, this thing? No, the one currently controlling this body is me. Kazuya laughed, but the next moment, his expressions turned ugly. No. What's this remaining time? Something's wrong. Didn't it just take less than 10 minutes? The time of descent is about to end. There are only a few seconds left. No way. If the world over heaven doesn't work, give me the Red Stone of Asia. No. Is there not enough time for the Red Stone of Asia either? Then at least D4C. Yar. It seems the time is up. Kujo Jotaro spoke inside Kazuya. I didn't expect that using the Over Heaven ability would also reduce my remaining existence time. I was too hasty, didn't have time to observe these things. Too hasty? Kazuya wanted to use the remaining over heaven to rewrite reality? Reaching his hand towards the Holy Grail, relying solely on Kujo Jotaro's truth, was not enough. He needed the Holy Grail too, both together. Although he wanted to manifest over heaven or use the arrow to grant stand abilities to those with potential, it was already too late for the world over heaven's level to rewrite reality. This ability was indeed powerful in theory, and theoretically, there was nothing it couldn't achieve. However, this was only in theory. To realize this theory, the first requirement was a large amount of spiritual energy. And what he lacked most now was exactly that, D4C. As long as I obtain this ability, everything still has a chance. D4C was also a stand ability, and simply put, its ability was traversing parallel worlds. Of course, there were some subtle differences, but those could be discussed later. The next moment, just as he was about to create that stand, time ran out. Kujo Jotaro and his ability disappeared from his body almost instantly. He and the Holy Grail were forcibly ejected from this space. Finally, 262, stalemate before the Holy Grail. Everyone has their own views on power. As for Kazuya, he has his own views too. Perhaps, true invincibility lies in the combination of strong power and a strong heart. Some people obtain power for revenge, some for personal ambition, some to protect something, and some stumble upon it unknowingly, and so on. As for Kazuya, although he has his own ambitions and things he wants to protect, his relationship with the power he gains is not that significant. He wants to obtain power because it's fun, it's like a child. Whether the power is strong or not doesn't matter. What's important is whether it's cool or fun. What matters is whether others have it, and what matters is whether he has it. It's like a game, even if he already has the strongest card in his hand. If someone else has something that, while not as strong, is cool and stylish, he wants it. He wants to have it. Different powers for him are like collecting different cards in a card game. The desire to collect, and Kazuya's desire is to collect power. Later on, he won't specifically use it for anything, just, occasionally before going to sleep, he'll flip through his list of abilities, and feel a sense of satisfaction. After all, in this world, there's nothing he needs revenge for, nothing that makes him dissatisfied. Everything has been going well for him so far, and his thoughts have been quite ordinary. However, he failed. Whether it's the world over heaven, the ability to give people a stand through the arrow, the last missing piece he lacked, the ultimate item, the red stone of Asia, or the stand D4C that can traverse parallel worlds. He didn't obtain any of them. Even D4C was just a little lacking. It's not without gains. The seeds have already been planted. He planted the seeds of D4C in himself, just one step. Just that one step to awaken. Although he doesn't know how long it will take, as long as he continues practicing his ripple, maybe tomorrow, maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe several years later. He will awaken his stand on his own, awakening the stand named D4C. And, at the same time, in another parallel world, the nature of stand abilities is hereditary, like if a parent has a stand, the child will have one too. If an older brother awakens a stand, the younger brother will also awaken. Unlike the previous stand, this is truly awakening a stand from Kazuya's body, meaning, it's passed down, and a certain bond has been transmitted to the past. Although, in reality, Kazuya and that person, his sister, Kazumi, no longer have a blood relationship. But it's the same material. The criteria for this body's material is still based on Kazuya before he came to this world. So, even if it's weak, it still brings Kazuya a different possibility. And, the flow of time is also slightly different. At this moment, Kazumi has already felt that her body seems to be undergoing some changes, as if something is about to come out of her body, and with each practice of her ripple breathing technique, this feeling becomes even stronger. That is, the sign that she is about to awaken her own stand. "Hey, you're back, my master," Alucard's voice brought his consciousness back. Kazuya slightly regained his senses and saw the current situation. So if Dio is gone, does that mean I'm the next target? Around him the Holy Grail is behind him, and in front of him, those who held guns were aiming at the servants, magus, and executors around. Even though it's one person, it gives the feeling that this place is not part of a single world. How's it going? I remember you were planning something. Did you succeed? Did you fail? No, I failed. Kazuya moved his neck a bit and sighed. Without a doubt, I failed. I didn't get anything, but instead, I consumed something. But how about it? Are we ready to start the final battle now? Kazuya looked at Bartholomew Lorelei and said, spare me. I still have to do some create manga. It's not acceptable for me to die here. Oh, right. That's it, that's the spirit. That's what an artist should be, Shakespeare laughed. You shut up. Bartholomew Lorelei spoke and raised her hand. What about Dio? He's dead. Is that so? HMPH, as expected. Well then see how you performed, and I'll give you a chance for face to choose, die here or join us. We can offer you that as well. Ambrose Conant interrupted Bartholomew Lorelei and said, as long as you come over, the Holy Church will take responsibility for protecting you. You, this guy, seem to have had enough of life, right? Bartholomew Lorelei's pupils emitted a dangerous aura. Kazuya squinted slightly, in the current situation. Indeed, it seems very unfavorable. It looks like they are discussing how to deal with him next, but in reality, it's not like that. What they are truly fighting for is the Holy Grail behind Kazuya. Before, this Holy Grail was managed by people from the Mages Association, but now it has changed. Now, the Holy Grail has appeared on the battlefield, in front of everyone. At this moment, whoever gets the Holy Grail means that the advantage will tilt towards that side. Bartholomew Lorelei looked at the current situation and gritted her teeth slightly. She began to let their last servant, who originally belonged to the Black Faction, Berserker, head towards them. If only they had placed the Holy Grail in Ozymandias's pyramid, it wouldn't be like this. But that king is too arrogant, making her dissatisfied. If they just give him the Holy Grail like this, something unexpected might happen. However, it's unexpected that because of this situation, the Holy Grail appeared on the battlefield. Blame that damned Dio. It's all because of that guy that the situation turned out like this. Are they starting the final battle, Carly? Now, there's only this way. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. 263, Seizure. How? Master, faced with the current situation, what should we do? Give the order. Should we join forces with someone among them, or should we kill them all? Give the order, Alucard cagerly asked. Any command will do, give me the command. Command, huh? Kazuya let out a sigh. Well, however, it seemed a bit wasteful, he just had to use one command seal. Hold on, at that moment, a voice interrupted. Saint Martha stood in the middle of everyone, saying, this battle stops here. What do you mean? Bartholomew Lorelei turned around, flicking his ponytail. I mean, this battle stops now, Martha said, and behind her, a faint light appeared. I have the authority to grant 2 command spells to each servant. This time, Lancer's master responded to my call to gather and defeat Dio, so won't allow you to immediately turn against your previous allies after this. So what? Don't forget, this is a war, the Holy Grail War. Indeed, but I am the ruler. If you have any complaints, say them. I'll listen carefully, Martha said, revealing her gauntlets, ready for a fight. Who wanted to go against her? If it was just one, they could exchange fists. More than 2? Order them to commit suicide first with a command spell. TCH. Retreat. Bartholomew Lorelei waved his hand in discontent. Now, on the Black Faction, their hostile opponents were only Lancer and Archer. Only Alucard and Gilgamesh remained. Although both of these heroic spirits were formidable opponents, their side also had a powerful lineup. Berserker, King Vortigern, Archer, Arash, Laner Enkidu, Saber Mordred and the strongest rider Ozymandias. With such a formation, with such an army, how could they possibly lose? And us? Shakespeare chimed in from somewhere, don't forget about us. Yeah, I know. Shut up and follow. And so, Dio exited the stage. At least, that's how it looked to almost everyone. But no, Dio had managed to escape his final reality just before dying. He escaped partially, drifting aimlessly, not even regaining self-awareness. Gradually, he regained consciousness. Damn it, Jotaro. When will he use Ripple again? And it's that high Ripple dash. Dio supported himself against the golden wall in front of him, panting heavily, even my vaporizing freezing at its limit can't freeze at that level. But when did he change my reality, interfering the sun's reality? No. I don't remember. I didn't expect Dio would be in such a pathetic state. While speaking, he followed the corridor and passed through. Where is this? It seems. The bricks are not of low quality, that's good. Let me have a good meal here. This way. I'll recover. Wait, even if Kujo Jotaro appears again, it won't be possible for him to be my opponent. Ha 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 ha, Dio frowned slightly. Why am I laughing? No, it's not you who's laughing, it's me, Dio. What? Dio quickly turned around, and the surroundings had turned into a grand hall at some point, and the one laughing was the man sitting on the throne in the center of the hall. The Pharaoh of Egypt. Writer from the Red Faction. Dio frowned and looked around, saying, I didn't expect that I somehow ended up here unknowingly. No, you didn't come here on your own. It's I who guided you into this great temple. Dio frowned. This guy's voice was too similar to his own, making him feel like he was talking to himself. Stop it. Whatever you have to say, it has nothing to do with me. Stop using that voice of yours to talk. Ha ha ha, Ozymandias laughed. I haven't said anything yet, and you, this residue-like thing, are making so many demands? Boom, enough. Dio took a step back, his body becoming even more transparent. Haha, blocked it, right? This is that ability to rewrite reality, right? But look at your weak appearance. How many times can you use it? Once, twice. I forgot to mention. The attack just now was just a casual strike from me. So, can you still block it? You bastard, specifically bringing me here. What's your purpose? Dio gritted his teeth and asked the pharaoh, who had the same voice as him. Good question. Ozymandias stood up and laughed. I am Pharaoh, King of Kings. I am supreme, perfect, unique, and must exist forever. Limited lifespan is the only tragedy for me. But I saw possibilities in you. If I obtain the ability to rewrite reality from you, I will be able to obtain a physical body, I will be able to live forever, so... Oh, so you want to take my stand? Exactly? Impossible. Dio laughed. Stands are manifestations of life energy, and everyone's life energy is different. How could you obtain my stand? No, this is possible. Ozymandias looked at Dio and said, otherwise, why do you think I brought you into this temple? If it were outside, even I wouldn't have any way, but in here it's different. In here, I am almighty. Even obtaining the power to rewrite reality, like your stand, is something I can naturally do. Hey wait, what are you going to do? To ask why, that's because I am. To ask why King Ozymandias, the Almighty, should do anything more than necessary, haha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. So, now the last piece is about to be filled. I am about to become a true God King. And life will no longer limit me, you can't stop. You bastard, stop it, Dio roared, but it was USCLESS. 264. Vortigern, Berserker. Bartholomei Lorelei summoned the knight from a distance through a command spell, saying, catch up to them, kill them. Currently, due to various circumstances, they had to temporarily retreat, but that didn't mean Bartholomei Lorelei was going to let go of the idea of eliminating Kurakawa Kazuya. Kill him. The Holy Grail was still near the ruins of Cairo Tower, where a bounded field had been set up. Rulers stood guard there. This situation forced both the Mages Association and the Holy Church to stay away, but the war was far from over, far from it. Tonight was just the beginning, the night was still long. Master, something is catching up, Alucard said from the backscat. Kazuya glanced slightly and caught sight of the figure behind him. Even in his spiritual form, being a master allowed him to easily perceive it, catching sight of that figure. Thinks we've lost our combat power because of the current situation? Is that Berserker, who hasn't appeared until now? Kazuya turned his head, pressing down on the accelerator. Go outside the city. We can't have the battle here, although I don't know who he is, but won't we win? Of course, Alucard smiled. What do you take me for? Good. But be careful. This time, I can't provide you with any useful information. That guy. Even though he hasn't appeared, he probably knows about your abilities. Even so, he's still charging up, full of confidence. What? You don't know anything about that guy? Alucard took out a gun and laughed. I thought you knew the information about every heroic spirit in this Holy Grail war. No. Kazuya smiled slightly. It's normal for a couple of unknown servants to appear occasionally. It's good this way. Compared to those I know, I'm more interested in the ones I don't. Come on, unnamed berserker. The car sped through. Kazuya had only average driving skills. However, the Ripple granted him significant enhancements in strength, speed, reflexes, and more. Especially reflexes. The streets of Cairo were quiet now. Just keep going forward, out of the city into the desert. Closing in, Alucard said, having appeared on the roof at some point, constantly pulling the trigger in his hand. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, is it useless? Alucard said with some surprise. Bullets hit the figure of the knight behind, splashing streams of fire, causing no harm to him. There are still people like this. Really, have these kinds of guns been outdated by the times? They're useless. Well, it seems I need other weapons, ones with greater power. If there's a chance, I'll see if I can get you one in the future, but for now, let's have some fun. We're about to leave Cairo, and it's quite a distance from here to there. Luckily, there's still a road here. Otherwise, I don't know if this thing can run in the desert. Well, maybe before leaving Cairo, I can find an opportunity to try it out. It's a good experience. Kazuya spoke, glancing through the rearview mirror, but it seems that Berserker doesn't want to give me such an opportunity. Kill him, Alucard. Yes, my master. Roar. The knight's figure began to distort, a giant claw reaching out towards Kazuya. Then came the second. Soon, the knight's form completely changed. A dragon. A dragon of iridescent colors. The iridescent dragon soared into the sky. It was a black knight, fully transformed into an iridescent dragon. The night sky became even darker. The rain had just stopped, and the moon had completely disappeared. Oh, right, today is the new moon, so there is no moon. But there are still stars. The black clouds summoned by the magical dragon roared as they rushed towards this side. Boom. The car was effortlessly torn apart under the dragon's claws. Only two figures jumped out in the nick of time. This is really bad. Kazuya looked at the enormous dragon and iridescent dragon. What is he? What is his true name? Although he had never seen it, he felt like he had some understanding. Could it be Vortigern? Oh, Vortigern. Alucard, who had turned into a knight's attire at some point, held a knight's sword in his hand. Ah, yes, Vortigern. There's a possibility. Kazuya and Alucard stood on both sides of the iridescent dragon. Such a guy is actually a dragon. This world is really chaotic. Roar. Get out of the way. Master. Alucard's sword blocked the dragon's attack, and with the force, he soared upward. Good. Let me finish you off. The dragon of Britain die under my sword. Clang, clang. The longsword clashed with the dragon's claw. One after another, scars were left on the dragon's claws. Alucard smiled. Even if he couldn't cause any damage, there was nothing he could do about it. However, as long as he could cause damage, why bother saying it? There could only be one winner. And probably only one. Boom. The next moment, the iridescent dragon flew up, and the black clouds around it rushed towards them like a sledgehammer. Not only that, there were shadows, something following the shadows. Poochie, Poochie. A long spear shot out from Alucard's hand. His long spear. The spear pierced through the dragon's dragon wing, but quickly recovered. Attacks of this degree couldn't cause any effective damage to him. The iridescent dragon also possessed powerful self-healing abilities. Ah, Alucard, let me handle it. What? Can you still do it like you did before? Alucard turned his head and asked. Ah, yes, last time, to defeat Dio, I summoned Kujo Jotaro. So this time, to defeat this iridescent dragon, who do you think'll summon? Who? You mentioned it before, right? He's likely to be the king who defeated him in the Arthurian legends. That King Arthur. 265 White Dragon and Red Dragon. Haha, that's right. A hand blocked the storm in front, and Kazuya once again activated one of his remaining 3 command spells. He had command spells before the Holy Grail War started. 2 were used to summon Kujo Jotaro before. Normally, it would require at least 2 command spells, but because it was not True Servant, the summoning requirement was reduced by 1 command spell, meaning 1 was enough. The wind gathered. When it dispersed once again, the figure enveloped in it was no longer Kazuya, but a petite figure with golden hair. What? A woman? Did something go wrong with the summoning? Alucard expressed some surprise, as he had not read Fate Zero. In Kazuya's manga, he only read Hellsing. Do you look down on women? Artoria, displeased, furrowed her brow. No, nothing like that, just curious, Alucard said with a bow. So, you are King Arthur. He said it truthfully, after all, his other master in Hellsing was a woman. That's right. Artoria lifted her head and looked at the sky where the white dragon was, and because Alucard spoke the truth, she accepted it naturally. That guy. Vortigern. Roar. Perhaps due to secking Artoria, Vortigern's roar became even louder. Oh, are you looking at me? Artoria smiled. All right, since you're throwing a tantrum again, let me suppress you once more. Come. Vortigern. In this world, Artoria's process of defeating Vortigern could be described as extremely difficult. King Arthur, along with Gawain and his soldiers, faced this king. At that time, the king took away the brilliance of Excalibur from Arthur and Gawain, killing countless soldiers. Finally, Arthur and Gawain's swords pierced the dragon's palms, taking away some of its freedom. Afterward it was killed by the holy lance Rongomyniad. But now, in Artoria's hands, there was no Rongomyniad. There was no Gawain by her side. And there was a time limit. However, the white dragon in front of her wasn't the complete King Vortigern. It was just a berserker, just a mad warrior, not even comparable to his prime. The outcome was still an unknown. Boom. Artoria slightly tilted her mouth upward, grasped the invisible sword in her hand, and stepped backward to avoid the impact of the white dragon. Ah, I see, so it seems he did notice me after all. Arthur. The white dragon roared, opening its mouth wide. Magical energy flowed in from all around and was swallowed down by him, along with the light. The holy sword Excalibur's radiance. Artoria just glanced at the sword in her hand and didn't care at all. With a step forward, she swung her sword at the magical dragon. The first time she encountered such a situation, she was quite surprised that there was something capable of devouring the brilliance of her holy sword. But now, she didn't panic. She had anticipated the current situation before, already foreseeing it when she charged towards him. She didn't stop because of it. Instead, she released the invisible air and infused magical energy into Excalibur in her hand. The sword's radiance was crazily absorbed, making it impossible to unleash the noble phantasm in this state. However, her current goal was not to release the noble phantasm. So, are you satisfied now? Artoria smiled and said, jumping up and stepping on the head of the white dragon with one foot. If you're full, then be quiet. If you're not full, then take this. Excalibur. Without any build-up, a beam of light shot out. The white dragon swallowed the entire light pillar. But bloodstains also appeared at the corners of its mouth. It seems, this time it really got full. Artoria tightened her invisible sword in her hand, and the wind coiled around the dim king's sword. She couldn't continue to release her noble phantasm in the short term. But, the white dragon was also overfilled from devouring too much light. Tour. The white dragon roared, gradually transforming into a figure holding a long sword, wearing armor stained with darkness. The sky was filled with layers of black clouds, giving people a kind of extremely oppressive feeling. Boom. What appeared in front of Alucard was such a scene. A battle between dragons. No. It was a battle between a dragon and a dragon. A battle between a white dragon and a red dragon. Artoria's invisible sword left one wound after another on the white dragon's body. But, this won't work. Artoria's heart sank slightly. Master, is there? Oh, right, no master, ahem. Is it Kurakawa Kazuya? Yeah, what's up? Need help? Of course, after all, you summoned me. Artoria smiled slightly. Just with me, I can't subdue this white dragon, but he also can't do anything to me. However, I can only exist for 30 minutes, right? Now there's only about 20 minutes left, it's not enough time to subdue this dragon. What kind of help do you need? Restrict his movements, Artoria said. His actions are too agile, but as long as we restrict his movements, my sword can pierce into his heart for sure. I see, look at what I have here. Kazuya said, give that rope to Alucard. Let him help you restrict the dragon's movements. This is something he can do. Alucard, huh, okay, I got it. Artoria nodded, facing the white dragon, she charged forward. The invisible sword in her hand, like a sledgehammer, forcefully repelled the white dragon that was diving down. At this moment, she shouted loudly, Alucard. Help me restrict his movements. Ha! Alucard laughed heartily. Artoria quickly raised her head, followed the sound, and then saw Alucard in the air above the white dragon. I see, just restrict him. Wouldn't it be better to kill him directly? Chirp chirp chirp. Saying so, the long sword stabbed towards the head of the white dragon without any hesitation. 266 The fall. Bang, bang, squack, quack, quack. Roar. The white dragon flapped its wings and swung its claws in front, while numerous bats flew from all directions, attaching themselves to the white dragon's body, obstructing his vision, and biting his scales. The sharp fangs of the bats attempted to pierce the dragon's scales, causing sparks to fly. Blood splattered. Of course, it wasn't the blood of the white dragon, but the blood of the bats. Even though their fangs were on the verge of bleeding, they still didn't cause any harm to the dragon's scales. Nevertheless, the bats continued to bite and tear, biting into their own flesh and blood. Not only on its body but also on the dragon's claws, teeth, and eyes. Each was attached by one bat after another. Roar. Unable to see the path ahead, the white dragon roared as its body slowly began to shrink. Its massive size destined it to be unable to defend against these ant-like small creatures. It once again transformed into a black armored knight, but unlike before, the color of its armor was indiscernible. Having absorbed the radiance from Excalibur, it became even darker. The pitch-black shadows enveloped its armor. The shadow became its sword, and in an instant, it rained in the sky. A rain of blood. In an instant, the countless bats turned into numerous fragments, and flesh and blood rained down from the sky. At the same time, Alucard kicked him in the face, sending him crashing down from the sky. Howl. Howie like a pig. Alucard stepped on his face with one foot, grabbing both of Vortigern's hands and kicked him down into the desert. Using his face as a pedal, he slid through the desert. Roar. The knight roared, and in the next moment, his body suddenly enlarged again, transforming into a gigantic white dragon. However, unlike before, his right face was now covered in blurry flesh and blood. At some point, a golden whip appeared in Alucard's hand. It was a weapon crafted from the phantasmal species skin by Kazuya. Swish, swish, swish. The whip bound one of the white dragon's claws, and at the same time, the longsword stabbed down, piercing the dragon's claw into the desert. On the other side, a giant dog appeared from the shadows on the ground. A massive hound. Baskerville. The huge black dog bit onto the white dragon's claw, pressing it down onto the ground. It's time, King of Britannia. Yes. Artoria happened to be in front of the white dragon. Magic waves emanated from her, and she gripped her sword tightly, aiming at the white dragon's heart. Artoria knew very well, she knew where the heart of this white dragon was. It wasn't the first time. Last time, she pierced the heart of the white dragon with the holy spear. This time, she would pierce the heart of this king with the sword in her hand, ending his life. Be prepared, O king, and sleep forever. Roar. The white dragon struggled, and the ropes that were harder than steel began to break a little bit. The black dog's mouth was torn. But Artoria had arrived. She had charged forward. Plop. The longsword pierced his chest without any hindrance. Invisible air. The wind soared, leaving a shocking cavity in the white dragon's chest, and fresh blood flowed from there to the ground. The gigantic white dragon slowly fell to the ground. Slowly. The white dragon shrank, lying in the sand, and within that pool of blood, only an elderly man on the brink of death remained. Hey, hee. In his final moments of life, the Holy Grail's binding on him had weakened. He regained control of his sanity. I never thought I would be able to meet again after becoming a heroic spirit, my brother, the son of Uther. How do you feel? Pulling out the sacred sword and ending my life, how does it feel to become the King of Britannia? What have you saved? Do you regret it? Artoria said nothing, but the hand gripping the sword trembled slightly. Hey, hee, ha ha ha, everything is destined to be like this. It's over now. I'm going to disappear. No, you won't disappear. Next to him, reverting to the appearance of a red cloak, Alucard laughed. The Holy Grail war is far from over. You still need to fight in the river of death. What? Artoria's eyes changed slightly, pointing her sword at Alucard. What are you doing? She clearly saw that this old man had been swallowed. Swallowed by something. Oh, what's wrong, my master? Isn't this your command? All right, it's enough, it's over. Kazuya said to Artoria, you have completed your mission, you have successfully suppressed this king again. But, I still need him, I need him to fight for me. Artoria tightened the sword in her hand. She felt that something was not right recently. She didn't know when this strange feeling started, she always felt that something was off, what exactly was wrong? Artoria pondered. It wasn't because of the current situation, but something else. Unbeknownst to her, control over her body had gradually fallen into the hands of Kazuya. How is it? Clenching his fist and feeling his body, Kazuya asked Alucard. Oh, are you the master now? Yeah, that's right, she seems to have encountered something recently. After the battle, she fell into confusion and contemplation. That's why I can do something like this. Kazuya placed his hand on the belly of the current body, feeling something inside Avalon. Not taking it out, but starting to infuse magical energy into it. Although he couldn't use this noble phantasm, with the magical energy from Artoria, this thing could still have some effects. Healing effects. As long as the magical energy inside doesn't run out, whether it's the heart being destroyed or the brain being shattered, he won't die. So he must do his best to store magical energy, to store Artoria's magical energy. Opportunities like this are not common. There are only 2 curse words left, so he must seize this chance. As long as he succeeds this time, storing Artoria's magical energy into Avalon, then next, he will have another trump card. 267 The Time of Hunt. Bartholomew Lorelei's expression changed slightly. Dead. Impossible. She felt the connection between herself and that servant, Berserker King Vortigern, severed. How could this be? Even if Alucard could defeat Vortigern, it would take at least several days and nights of continuous battle to wear him down. How could he be taken down so quickly? Bartholomew Lorelei's face turned unpleasant, but she could no longer sense the situation there. She hadn't deliberately established sensory contact with Berserker. The reason was simple because the opponent was Alucard. The battle could last for several days. She just wasn't going to let Kurakawa Kazuya rest. Let Berserker pursue for a night. After that, with everyone together, find a way to free Alucard from the River of Death or simply kill Kurakawa Kazuya. That should have been the plan. But why? Taken down. Why was Berserker taken down? Did she miscalculate? Was Alucard actually stronger than she imagined? Or was it Kurakawa Kazuya? Did he use that technique when defeating Dio? But what came down wasn't a god, but something else. Was it his magecraft? Or something else? Once could be considered a coincidence, but the second time, the third time. Did I underestimate him? Did I underestimate that mangaka? Who? Magic gradually receded, and the immense power slowly withdrew from his body. Ironically, as the power diminished, his stature grew taller and more robust. He clenched his fist forcefully. Kazuya breathed out. Almost every time was like this. Every time he used this technique, a thought emerged deep within him: he too had to become this strong. It might have been because Kujo Jotaro wasn't as strong as he is now. After becoming Kujo Jotaro, his strength didn't weaken, of course, it didn't get stronger either. In other words, even if he summoned a servant with particularly low strength, that servant's weakest aspect wouldn't be weaker than Kazuya now, only stronger. Like now, feeling the slow extraction of his strength. It was truly unpleasant. Made him uncomfortable. Did you swallow it? Kazuya flexed his fist, expressing some dissatisfaction, waved his hand, and then, to shift his focus, asked to Alucard. Of course. Alucard smiled. It has been completely swallowed up. Now this berserker is mine, firmly within my river. Ready to use at any time, ready to unleash this power's brilliance. Good then. Kazuya nodded in satisfaction. Now, let's go back. How do we go back? Kazuya sighed helplessly, looked at the distant car that had turned into a pile of scrap metal, and said, of course, we'll walk back. Bartholomew Lorelei's thoughts were, to some extent, realized. Kurakawa Kazuya, Alucard, returned to Cairo only when the sun was about to rise. Avalon. Not the conceptual weapon in Kurakawa Kazuya's hands, but the real Avalon, the inner sea of stars. Merlin was in a dilemma. He had indeed obtained Artoria. Obtained this parallel works Artoria, but he didn't know what to do. Now Artoria's soul was on her body, completely within this inner ska of stars. Although, she was just summoned out for a moment. However, these weren't the things Merlin cared about. He cared about another thing. Now Artoria's body and soul could connect, which meant, as long as Merlin wanted, Artoria would wake up and come alive at any time. But, he couldn't do it. Because Artoria's obsession hadn't been eliminated, she still wanted to obtain the Holy Grail, change the fate of Britain. This couldn't work, this kind of ending. Merlin just didn't want Artoria to become that Elia's counter-guardian, this kind of ending. But, it couldn't go on like this in confusion, he had to find an opportunity. That's why Artoria was in confusion. Summoned here, she would feel unstable. She didn't know what she was doing. She should have been pursuing the Holy Grail, but, why was she absent from every Holy Grail war? She was contemplating, she didn't understand why it was like this. Even that Vortigern had been summoned by someone. Why wasn't she summoned? There are currently 8 remaining. 2 for the Black faction, 6 for the Red faction, and the ruler serving as the saint. Inside the Great Temple, Ozymandias smiled and said, "No good. Those guys on the Black faction, how come they've retreated so quickly? It's truly unpleasant." He originally wanted to see that, on this side, only he remained. While the enemy had all 7 servants intact. In that case, he could perform a 1 against 7 drama, let them truly witness what a pharaoh was. But now, with this situation, he lost interest. What is this, now? It's almost like a crushing situation. How can he radiate his brilliance as the supreme god king like this? Only when the enemy is strong can the brilliance shine. Otherwise, it's just weaklings playing house. But, I've gained this power now. He was the pharaoh, and he also had a portion of the authority of the underworld, limited to this pyramid. So, he attracted Dio's soul over, sized his power. However, this part of the power could only be used within this temple, and there were some other restrictions. There was still a gap from being almighty. But even so he obtained it. Next, what he needed was a formidable opponent. Before that, he wouldn't do anything. I am Ozymandias, the Supreme. Come display your brilliance in front of the Almighty King, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Cairo. Now, as the decisive battle time approached, finally, it was time for the hunt. 268 The first target. After having breakfast and looking at the scenery outside, Kazuya sighed, it's about time. Currently, there were only 2 opponents left from the Mages Association, him and Lancer. The Holy Church still had Archer. From the attitude of the Holy Church so far, Kazuya could roughly guess. The Holy Church will not lay hands on him next. In short, even though the Holy Church and the Mages Association are ostensibly collaborating, Siegfried has already exited the stage at present. The only remaining servant is Gilgamesh. With Ozymandias, the Mages Association, still in the picture, the situation can't be considered advantageous. So, they wouldn't make a move against him, letting Alucard handle it. Counting 1 by 1, kill each and every Red faction's servants, and finally, let Gilgamesh finish it all. And, Kazuya thought the same, but only for the first part, the latter part was different. Next, the Mages Association would undoubtedly take action against him. Instead of waiting idly here, it was better to take the initiative, kill each and every servant, and drag them into the River of Death. Now that Alucard wasn't alone. In the River of Death, there was still that Vortigern. Together, 1 by 1, with the combination of their undying nature, they could kill each and every servant mercilessly. Without mercy. Although it's still early, well, let's get ready to move. Looking at the sun that hadn't even reached noon yet, it wasn't even 12 o'clock now, but... Understood, my master. Well then, it begins, the hunt begins, the time to hunt those servants from Mage Association actively has come. This is not bad, Mordred exclaimed while cating lamb skewers. Hey, master, those sweet potatoes over there also look good. Yeah, Egyptian sweet potatoes are quite good. Kiritsugu waved his hand, buy 2. Oh, Mordred nodded, almost finished eating the lamb skewers, bought 2 sweet potatoes and came back. By the way, master, what do you plan to do after this Holy Grail war ends? I guess I'll continue my previous work. Do whatever needs to be done. Kiritsugu said, taking a bite of the sweet potato. Even if we win this Holy Grail war, there's nothing much to gain, and the wishes don't belong to us. Yeah, I don't even know if there will be a next time. Mordred hesitated for a moment, her tone somewhat subdued. Even if she was rebellious, she could see that Bartholomew Lorelchi's wish continuing the ley line. It wouldn't allow any disruption for any reason. The magus' goal is to reach the root before the world is destroyed. They won't give up, even if there's just a moment left before reaching the root. But, if it's already clear that the time to reach the root is a bit short, and if it's possible to extend the ley line, this time's Holy Grail War was born based on this point. If there's a next time. Kiritsugu waved his hand and said, rewards, rewards, this time I participated in the Holy Grail War on behalf of Einsburn, and the reward is this: as long as this time extends the ley line, then next time I'll still choose myself as the master. Well, if there's any wish, you can try to fulfill it at that time. Sigh. Master's wish. What about your wish? Or the one from before? Kiritsugu asked his own servant. Anyway, we can't fulfill the wish this time, right? Let's talk about it next time. Honestly, it's annoying. Even in a Holy Grail War where we put in our best effort, there's no desire for battle at all. However, it's still nice to walk down this path. Mordred suddenly stopped and looked behind her. Do you feel it, Master? Yeah, it's probably the enemy. Servants, currently, there should only be 2 on the enemy side. Lancer Alucard and Archer Gilgamesh. Kiritsugu nodded. So, it should be clear now, right? Right, there's only one possibility, it's that Alucard. Mordred said, finishing all the food in her hand. Well, honestly, I really don't want to fight that guy. It's meaningless. If we don't release the River of Death, there's basically no way to kill him. But if they've come, we can't just let them wait, right? Exactly, that's it. Mordred smiled. Well then, I'll go ahead. Master. Boom. The next moment, Mordred leapt high and rushed towards Alucard. The surrounding crowd was in chaos. Kiritsugu lit a cigarette, looked around, and said, well, aren't you coming out too? Lancer's master. Oh, did you sense me? Kazuya slowly walked out. In the midst of the chaotic crowd, the two stood facing each other. Kiritsugu's face became slightly serious. Just last night, Berserker was taken out, and they didn't know about Berserker's existence before. Berserker, King Vortigern, defeated by that Lancer, shattered their previous impression that Lancer, aside from his own undying nature, wasn't too strong. Of course, all of this was based on the situation where he didn't release his noble phantasm. But, even so, Saber still rushed forward. The reason was that, they couldn't fulfill their wishes here, and also, maybe she wasn't ready to retreat. However, are you here to take me down? Kiritsugu secretly touched the gun in his hand, ready to act at any moment, although he didn't know how he used that summon technique before. And whether there were similar means, but being able to take down that Dio indicated that this guy was strong. Maybe they would lose. They might even die. No, I don't have any intention to harm you. Kazuya shook his head. I just don't want you to call for reinforcements from the Mages Association. I don't have any intent to kill you, and I don't want to have any battles here. How about it? Let's sit quietly, drink some coffee or tea, and wait for the battle over there to end. What do you think? Do you think I would agree? Yeah, that's true. Kazuya smiled. So, we have to fight, right? Right. Bang. Saying that, Kiritsugu took out a gun, pulled the trigger, and a bullet shot towards Kazuya. 269 Certain death. Saber encountered a battle. Bartholomew Lorelei listened to the report from her subordinate. Indeed, whether it was Saber or Kiritsugu, there was no time to convey information. However, Saber's magical energy supply was handled by ordinary magus. Those magus with mediocre combat abilities. So, the consumption of magical energy was clear at a glance. I see, the possibility of Archer is very low. In that case, Lancer stays here, and Archer, once you find Saber's location, be ready to provide support. Clone Squad, follow up. Yes. Unlike other servants, if it was to deal with that Lancer, the Clone Squad could play a significant role. Contact the Holy Church, let them help too. Bartholomew Lorelei suddenly thought of something and said. This way, even if they didn't help, at least it would hinder the evacuation of the people a bit. If Alucard released his noble phantasm in the city, The consequences were unthinkable. Bang! Bullets shot out, tracing 2 arcs and heading towards Kazuya. Well, looks like I have to take action after all. Kazuya sighed slightly. The scarf around his neck automatically fluttered without wind. He easily blocked both bullets. What is this? Kiritsugu's pupils slightly contracted, and he quickly stepped back. Swinging the whip and missing, at the next moment, he swiftly blended into the crowd. Well, let's play a little. Touching his chest, feeling the abundant Artoria's magical energy in Avalon, Kazuya smiled. Yo, we meet again, Saber. In the desolate ruins, Alucard looked at Mordred and laughed. Where is this? Mordred looked around. I see, is this the place from that battle the other day? Perfect, let me kill you here. A burst of purple lightning. Without warning, Mordred's armor suddenly appeared, burning the ground to black marks with extremely fast speed. The longsword cut Alucard in half. The next moment, she turned around, stabbed Alucard's heart, and said, I'll kill you first. Dang. Hey, hee, ha ha ha. Alucard laughed, his body covered in dark armor, and the sword blocked in front of him, blocking Mordred. Come. Just as you said, kill me. Give it your all. Try it. No need to say it. I'm ready to do it. Boom. A sudden burst of light from the sword sent Alucard flying. Clarent Blood Arthur. The noble phantasm was instantly released, and facing the airborne Alucard, Mordred swung it over. Crack, crack. The sword gradually filled with cracks, but it didn't break. It held its ground. Alucard laughed, red bloodstains appearing on his sword. Come on. Knight, let me see your determination. TCH, just die obediently. On the other side, Bartholomew Lorelei waved her hand, watching the street slightly squinting. All of you follow the preset plan, make sure to force out Alucard's noble phantasm. Yes. As for me, Bartholomew Lorelei walked into the chaotic street. I'll remove an obstacle. The wind flowed. The wind told her who was in front. Turning around this street and coming to the chaotic crowd, she arrived in front of that person. Found you, Kurikawa Kazuya. Can you still escape this time with your tricks? Bartholomew Lorelei. Kazuya, who was chasing after Kiritsugu, had his pupils slightly contracted. This wasn't good. Now, he shouldn't be her opponent. But, yes, Bartholomew Lorelei said to Kazuya, walking past him. The magical energy gathering around her seemed to have distorted space. A short whip hung casually by her side. You've used your last chance. I won't give you a new one. Run or die. Of course, you can try to summon your servant using a command spell. For you, your decisive battle has come. This is your final fight. Final? Huh. Kazuya smiled. That's not necessarily. Kazuya reached out his hand. Let me learn a little, the Lord of the Clock Tower, and let me judge where I am now. Very well. Bartholomew Lorelei smiled. Then, take your ignorant self to death. The people around had disappeared without knowing when. No, during the conversation between the two, the bounded field had been set up. In an instant, the wind entwined around him. Before long, to deal with you, an instant is enough. Can't escape. Kazuya saw the wind blades gathered around, small and numerous, had surrounded him, and then, at an extremely fast speed, they rushed towards him. Swish. Kazuya's scarf emitted a golden light, and he slightly shrunk within it, barely wrapping himself in it. Using this force, he rushed out. It's over. On top of a nearby building, Kiritsugu sighed slightly in relief. Really, it seems I don't need to take action. I didn't expect that Bartholomew would personally take action. In this case, the victory was already determined. As a magus, Bartholomew Lorelei was of the highest level. Even a few servants might not necessarily be her opponents. If such an existence personally took action against Kazuya, he had no chance of surviving, unless, like that time, he used some summon technique. Otherwise, this was a battle without suspense. Let's see what's happening with Saber next. Kiritsugu distinguished the direction and prepared to rush over. After all, Saber's opponent was that Lancer. Nothing unexpected should happen. 270 Solo battle with Bartholomew Lorelei. It's over, just like that. Bartholomew Lorelei closed her eyes, turned around, and in an instant, the scarf that enveloped Kazuya was completely cut into pieces. Accompanying it was the splattering of minced flesh from inside the scarf. Originally, that's what Bartholomew Lorelei thought. Sensing something amiss, Bartholomew Lorelei quickly turned her head, and coming towards her was a man with shallow bloodstains on his arm. He actually blocked it. Boom! The earth split open. Bartholomew Lorelei stepped on the ground, abruptly leapt backward, but in the next moment, she was pulled down. A rope, tied to her leg at some unknown moment, even though some parts of the rope seemed about to break, still functioned perfectly. Ripple step. Kazuya, with the ripple in his right arm, swung it towards Bartholomew Lorelei's face as she was pulled towards him. Crash! The fist struck her face without any hindrance, and even the faint sound of bones breaking could be heard. Bartholomew Lorelei was sent flying. Kazuya maintained the rhythmic breathing of the ripple, giving himself a series of elegant and fluid poses. Watching Bartholomew Lorelei lying on the ground did not relax, he stepped toward her, ready for the second attack. His scarf was made of phantasmal species fur. Even if Bartholomew Lorelei's wind blades pierced through it, they had little effect due to Kazuya's powerful anti-mage craft. However, the scarf had completely broken, and the same move could not be used a second time. In the next moment, Kazuya's pupils slightly contracted. Surprisingly, Bartholomew Lorelei stood up. Normally, a person's head would be minced into flesh after such a punch. However, Bartholomew Lorelei, despite the critical moment, did not seem to have suffered major injuries. At a critical moment, she reinforced her body. It seems, I underestimated you, huh? Well. Bartholomew Lorelei spat out a broken tooth. The slightly cracked skull, under the healing mage craft, completely recovered in just a few seconds. In that case, I won't hold back now. Have any moves? Use them quickly. Like the one that defeated Dio. If it's that one, I might not have any defense, but, looking at how useless your tricks are, is it because of some significant limitations? Or can you no longer use it? Crash. Very fast. Kazuya's expression changed. Bartholomew Lorelei rushed toward him, and Kazuya, unable to evade due to his own speed, could only block the attack with his arms. He could clearly hear the crisp sound of bones breaking and the sound of muscles bursting. Blood sprayed out from his arm, splattering all over the place. Boom, boom. He collided with two walls in succession before finally coming to a stop. In the next moment, he was completely powerless to care about the bloody mess on his arm and the burning sensation in his chest. His body bent to the side, avoiding the second attack from Bartholomew Lorelei. Taking advantage of the situation, he kicked towards Bartholomew Lorelei's head. Crash. Too weak. Bartholomew Lorelei said. Step back accompanied by Kazuya's voice. Bartholomew Lorelei couldn't help but take 2 steps back. She looked at Kazuya, who was repositioning himself, and smiled, mystic eyes of domination. Well, even if it is, don't expect it to work on me a second time. Maybe that's true. Kazuya moved his arm, which had already healed. Avalon was truly remarkable. Its healing effects were unexpectedly strong. Even if his heart ruptured, it probably would only take a moment to recover. In that case, victory was possible. Darkness. Kazuya's mystic eyes weren't just 1, but 2. Domination. Dark abyss. In an instant, Bartholomew Lorelei's vision lost everything. She couldn't hear, see, or feel anything. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Kazuya swiftly looped his rope around her and kicked her away. Don't think you can overpower me like this. Bartholomew Lorelei's face looked somewhat unpleasant as she stood up. When did she ever appear so disheveled? Oh, indeed. I didn't think I could overpower you like this. Saying that, Kazuya took out a syringe and a vial of potion, but most of it had shattered, leaving only 2 intact. Sedative. Well, in reality, the last resort would be to use the origin bullet. At the moment she used magecraft, shoot her with the origin bullet. In that case, no matter how powerful she was, it would be over. However, since it's my manga world, I'll give you a chance. Let's knock you out this time. If there's a next time, then use the origin bullet. Sizzle, sizzle. The wind cut the rope in an instant, and Bartholomew Lorelei, with an unpleasant expression, walked towards Kazuya. Come closer, and look at what's beneath your feet. Bartholomew Lorelei lowered her head, and then, she saw countless golden threads. That's right. Ripple step. The broken threads of the scarf turned into countless steel needles, piercing towards Bartholomew Lorelei. Dang, 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 dang. In the next moment, Kazuya's face changed. It was useless. Snap. The syringe in his hand also shattered on the ground. I told you, don't underestimate me. Do you think such a small trick can work on me? Bartholomew Lorelei coldly said, with such leisure, go and learn more magecraft. Hiss, 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 hiss. The wind howled. In an instant. Everything near Bartholomew Lorelei, including the collapsed building where Kazuya fell. Everything. All. Collapsed. Every brick, stone, and even steel was cut into countless small pieces, each about a cubic centimeter in size. The world collapsed. It's over. Watching the body of Kazuya lying on the ground, Bartholomew Lorelei sighed, feeling a bit empty. After all, she couldn't enjoy her favorite manga anymore. But, all for the glory of Bartholomew. After Bartholomew Lorelei left, the disheveled Kazuya slowly raised his head, looked around, made sure Bartholomew Lorelei had left, and breathed a sigh of relief. That was close. If it weren't for Avalon, I would have to resort to command spells. It's really bad. You are still alive. Kazuya's face stiffened, slowly turned his head, and saw the queen standing on the sandy soil of the collapsed building. Oh. Give me another death. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.